Hello, successful people. Welcome to the Iron Fire Success Channel.
The channel where we give you the information, motivation, and inspiration you need to overcome obstacles to achieve your goals and your dreams.
I'm DK.
And I'm Mo.
Thank you so much and welcome back to our subscribers. We appreciate your support.
And if you're new here, welcome.
Today's video is going to be part one of a three-part series about electrical planning. So part one is going to be showing you how to make an electrical plan. Part two, we're going to talk about what to expect in your low voltage meeting. And part three, we're going to share with you some of what we did in our home's electrical plan and some of the decisions we made.
So you may be asking yourself, what is an electrical plan? Well, an electrical plan is a diagram or placement of electrical items within your home, as well as the placement of low voltage items in your home. Things such as lights, light switches, fans, where you'd like cable hookups to be placed, where you like Ethernet to be placed, where do you want security cameras to be placed. All of these things are part of your electrical plan or your electrical diagram.
So you might also want to know, when does this come up during the build of your home? So for us, because we're doing a custom home, the electrical plan was actually something we were involved with designing with our builder. It came up a little bit after we signed our contract in what would be considered our first design meeting, right? Because we met with the designer and the architect to choose things like color of the stone and the roof, and we did the electrical plan at that first meeting. But if you are doing a semi-custom home, they may not always see the electrical plan, right? But there is always one.
Correct, yeah, because that electrician or whoever the builder is using to actually place the electrical work and the low voltage in the home actually has to have some plan or some diagram to go on.
Yes. So if your builder doesn't show you the electrical plan, just know there is one that goes along with your home. Okay, stick with us next. We're going to walk you through the 3 steps you use to make an electrical plan, and we're going to make one together. There are 3 steps to making an electrical plan. Before you get started, make sure you do these things. Make sure that you find out what your builder includes so you'll know if you'll be paying extra for any additional lights or wiring. Buying the lighting from the builder is optional, but doing the pre-wiring is just a smart thing to do while you have the opportunity. The other things you should do is make sure you have a copy of your floor plan and have a pencil or an erasable pen. Okay, so the first step in making our electrical plan is you're going to use your floor plan and then map out where you want lights and fans. For example, lights in the ceiling, those flush mounts, any pendant lights, sconce lights or lights that highlight pictures, any fans inside or outside on the patio, as well as any outside lights. So let's do that now using our sample floor plan. Okay, Mo, so if this is our house, what kind of lighting or fans should we have?
Well, coming in through the front door, we would probably want to have a light here in the foyer.
Like a nice chandelier?
Yes, chandelier there in the middle. There's a walk-in closet that's here. Maybe a little dark, so we may want to put a light in the walk-in closet. Next to the walk-in closet, we have a study. And if you're going to have a study, we probably want a ceiling fan.
I know that some people don't want ceiling fans in their offices, but I've heard from folks that opted not to do that, that they wish they had done it. So might as well have it wired for a ceiling fan. Oh, I like the 3 lights too.
Yes, 1 over the desk and then 2 more. It's a weird shaped room. Then we may want them in the bedroom. And I know you've talked about this, Dee, where folks get only 1 light in the middle of the room and some of the issues that could pose in terms of having enough lighting.
So we're going to get a light inside of that ceiling fan. I see you drew that there too.
Yes, put a
And the
little,
4 lights in the ceiling.
yes.
Okay, that's good for each bedroom. So far our plan is looking good. And this is why it's good to ask first what the builder includes, because some builders will only include a light in the middle and not a ceiling fan, or maybe they'll include just the ceiling fan with the light in it. So that way you'll know if you're paying extra for those additional lights Mo is drawing in the ceiling. So far I like your plan. We're going to have nice lighting in all of these bedrooms. Okay, what are we going to do with this large living room space?
Well, before we go on to the living room, maybe in the master bedroom over here, we want lighting next to the bed.
Oh, okay.
So
That's going to be nice. It's like a pendant light.
pendant lights. Let's put a pendant light right
Nice.
here.
Very
It's
nice.
not perfect, but it works.
So I guess one of the tips, Mo, from you doing that, you would need to make a decision about where you wanted to place your bed in this room. Because if they wire the ceiling for pendant lights, people would just need to make sure that that is where you're going to place your bed.
Yes, and based on where it looks like they have some of the built-ins, we went ahead and assumed that the bed would be on this wall.
Okay.
And now to the living room. We'll do the same thing here. Wow, need a big fan for all of this space.
Oh, yeah. I like it. And we're also going to need some ceiling lights, right? Because if that's the only light in the room in that fan, that's not going to work.
So maybe a light here, maybe a light here, maybe a light here. We'll put 6 lights
Okay. 6 sounds like a good
here,
number.
a light here, and a light here, which will also serve as a hallway light as well.
Okay.
And because we still have this big space, looks like there's steps here, so maybe a light here
Okay.
and another light I don't know, somewhere over here.
All right. That looks good. Okay. And what about outside? We want to make sure that when you do your electrical plan, you consider any lighting for your patio. This is a big
Yes,
patio.
if I slide this, you can see this is a huge patio, as Dee said. So we want to space some lights out here. So maybe a light here, a light here, a light about here. Probably going to have some patio furniture out here, so put a fan here.
Ooh, thank you.
I know how you love those fans.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we'll have a light here. And how about a light here?
So
Moving
this
along.
actually shows us something about, when you have a house with a particular configuration and you like the floor plan, you may wind up paying a little bit extra to make sure that it's well lit. So it looks
And
like that's what
another
happened here.
fan, you'll be happy about that. It's this large terrace that runs from the master bedroom all
Cool.
the way over.
Okay, so in step 1, we were considering where we would want to place any lights or fans. So in the interest of time, we won't finish the whole house. But step 2 is now we need to make the dotted lines leading to where we would want the light switches. Well,
Yes.
if you could talk about how we did this, because this was a little tricky.
Yeah, so part of your light plan is determining where you want those light switches. And what we did was we took our actual plans, as you are seeing here. Now, these are not our plans, but we took our set of plans and we thought about how we would actually be turning the lights on and off as we walk through the house. For instance, if we come through the entryway here, we may want to have, say, a switch right here to turn on this light. But when we come into this area here, we don't want to have to walk back to switch this light off. So what we did was maybe put a switch here. So now we come in, we switch it on here, we're able to switch it off at this point.
And so when we made our electrical plan, we did this for the whole house, right?
Yes.
One of the things we should talk about, Mo, is how many times we looked at this and, tweaked it and reworked it because there were certain things that we may have missed or didn't think about the first time.
Yes. And I'm just continuing to add the lines for these lights. I am not an electrician, so this rendering is what it is.
So wait, those little lines you're drawing is to show how the particular switch in a location controls a particular thing.
Correct. So I have actually drawn dotted lines from a switch. So there's one switch that will control all of the lights here. There's another switch that will go to the lighting, and then I'm going to have one more switch that will control the fan. So this is a four switch panel, because remember, we have our switch for our light in the foyer here as well. So 4 switch panel, and you can see that we're able to come in and switch on the lights if we so choose, and the fan at this end. But say we were leaving this room and going to another part of the house.
Right. So say we're walking towards this dining room, for instance. I don't want to have to walk all the way back to the front of the house to turn off the overhead lights in the living room or the fan or the ceiling fan. So wouldn't we need to put a switch somewhere by the dining room so this way we can turn off the lights after we've left the living room?
Absolutely. So what do you think? Maybe here or here? So
maybe there.
Here?
Yeah, maybe that would be good. So by the time you walk through to the dining room, you could turn off the lights or the fan behind you. So let's see how that would come out.
So we're able to turn on the dining room lights, but we also want to be able to turn on the lights here. Do we want to be able to turn on the fan as well?
Yes, on or off. Because suppose you came through the front door and you turned on all that stuff as you walked into your living room, but now, you want to go into the dining room, and so now you just want to be able to shut it all off behind you without coming all the way across the house.
So now there will be 2 more dotted lines from the switch there, turning the fan on or off at either end of the room.
Yes.
And what we did was we were advised to walk through the house and imagine we were turning lights on and off as we were walking through the house. And what we found, which is the situation we have in the rental that we're in right now. So if we're ready to go to bed after getting a glass of water, we would have to walk over to the switch near the front of the house and then walk back, get water, and then switch the light off and walk back in the dark.
Right. So we were determined not to have that at all. So if you actually saw our electrical plan, it looks really crazy and confusing because we're super lazy and don't want to have to walk far to do anything in our house. So I love it, including turning those lights on and off on the patio as well, right? Look how big that patio is. And
yes.
So, you want to be able to turn those lights on and off from every entry and exit point to the house. Mo, let's also talk about how, even though fans are on remote controls, we wanted a separate switch for our light and our fan and not just have to depend on a remote control.
Absolutely. Especially with your modern fans, you'll find that there is a little button light, or there could be a regular chandelier style light in the middle of your fan. And you would want to be able to independently control the fan and the light. And that's one of the things that we considered when we were doing our lighting design.
Because where we are now is interesting. So in the bedroom, they put it on different switches, but in this living room, it's only on one switch, and there is no remote that we got when we moved in here. So we have to keep, pulling the chain on the light or the fan to turn them on and off because they're both on one switch. Okay, so now after we've done our walkthrough, we've thought over what our lights are going to be, where they're going to be positioned. We've thought about what switches turn off what. Now, part 3 of our electrical plan is we have to think about our outlets. So, what is it about the outlets that we should be doing, Mo, when we think about where to place outlets?
So when you're thinking about your outlets, the builder will have someone who to install your electrical, and by code, they have to place plugs intermittently a certain distance apart in your home anyway. So what you want to think about is where you would want additional plugs in your home. For instance, in our design, we decided to get plugs in closets, places where you may not traditionally
move this up so we can see the closet.
Here we are.
Okay,
there's the walk-in closet. So you may not see a plug normally in a closet. So this may be a place where you would want to place a plug. Other places may be places like broom closet.
You might need to plug in a vacuum cleaner or an appliance, and the builder may not include plugs in closets, or maybe you want a makeup table in the master bedroom closet.
So maybe true. So putting a plug in, maybe we'll put a couple of plugs in the closet in the master bedroom.
Also, I believe most builders are going to ask you if you want floor plugs. That would be a specialty item. The builder may include a certain number or may not include any, but in this, sample drawing, where would we be putting floor plugs?
Well, definitely, because we have this large space, this family room or this great room. So we would probably want to put floor plugs, maybe one here and maybe one here. Well, maybe not exactly there, maybe more over here. But you want to think about, as our designer told us, where you would want to place those end tables and lamps within a space this large.
You know what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it just occurred to me. I would want a floor plug in my study.
I was just about, you beat
plug
me to it.
Plug in your computer equipment.
Floor plug there in the study.
Okay, that's good. Another thing that would go into your electrical plan is if you are going to hang televisions on the wall, you would need to make sure that there's an outlet on the wall where you would want to hang your TVs.
So it looks like, given this space here, the TV, I can't tell whether this is a fireplace or not, but if you wanted to put a TV over the fireplace, you would want to put an outlet there, or maybe if you're going to put it on this wall, put an outlet there. And these outlets would not necessarily be at floor level, they would be mid-wall, because a lot of folks mount their TVs nowadays.
And this is one of the reasons why it took us a while to actually come up with our final floor plan, because as you look at it, you think of things that you didn't think of before, or you keep visiting model homes or other people's homes and see things and get ideas. Now, if you're doing a custom build like we are, and that happens to you and you think of something later you didn't think of before, you can actually submit a change order and list the additional outlets or electrical things that you want, as long as you're not too far into the process for it to be changed. Now, if you remember from one of our previous videos that broke down the financial terms, we talked about the difference between a fee and a deposit. And if you submit a change order, there's going to be a management fee. Typically, it's a percentage of the total dollar value of the change order that you will pay in addition to paying for the additional electrical. And there was also language built into our change order that said that any changes to the plan may result in a 14-day delay.
And D, one other thing that I just thought about that we also considered, see how these doors swing? You can tell that this door swings this way.
Yeah.
You do not want your switches to be here. You want your switches to be here so that as you're opening the door, you're able to turn on your lights and not have to actually close the door to get to your to your switches.
That is a good tip.
Same thing with this room. This door swings this way. You want your switches to be here and not behind the door. And we actually had that happen, and we had to ask the electrician, ask our project manager to have the electrician correct that.
Okay, so let's wrap this up because it looks like Mo has designed a great electrical plan. He thought of where those lights should be in the ceiling, where there should be ceiling fans. We thought of where we would have floor plugs in the floor in certain rooms. We thought about where we might be hanging TVs, so we need outlets in the walls. Any specialty outlets, maybe in closets or in other rooms where there may not normally be. We might want outlets outside in our patio if there's not an additional outlets that go out there. And we also took the time to think through where we would want our switches. Having switches not located behind doors is a great tip, and making sure that we have switches that are on and off controls on either side of a large room. So that way, we can always turn the light off as you leave a room. So that's it for part 1 of our electrical series on electrical plan. The next part of this series, part 2, we will talk about our low voltage meeting. And in the third part of this series, we're going to talk about our electrical plan, how we came up with it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that change order that we submitted, why we submitted the change order and what happened. Okay, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you could see the next 2 installments of this 3-part series.
And don't forget to check out our blog at www.ironfiresuccess.com.
And as always,
until next time, be peaceful and count your blessings.